He woke up to a strange humming sound that echoed softly through the air. At first he thought it was the alarm clock, but when he opened his eyes he realized something was very different. The room was glowing with a gentle blue light. The walls were not straight, but curved and alive, as if they were breathing. He sat up slowly, confused, rubbing his eyes. The bed beneath him felt soft like liquid, yet it supported his weight perfectly. His heart began to race. He had no memory of how he got there. The last thing he remembered was falling asleep in his small apartment back on Earth, with the nightlight on and his phone charging beside him. But now there was no bed, no phone, no walls like his own. Everything around him looked like part of a living organism. He whispered to himself, "Where am I?" Then suddenly, a figure appeared near the edge of the glowing room. It was tall and slender, with skin that shimmered like glass under moonlight. Its large eyes were calm, and they reflected colors he had never seen before. For a moment he froze in fear, unable to move or speak. The figure tilted its head, studying him with curiosity, not hostility. When it finally spoke, its voice wasn't from its mouth, but seemed to echo inside his mind. "You are awake," the voice said softly. "You have rested for a long time." He swallowed hard, trying to understand. Who are you?" he asked in a trembling voice. "I am Kyle," the being replied. "Your friend." The word friend made him blink. He didn't know any Kale. He didn't even know any aliens, and not in real life anyway. It felt like a dream, but every detail was too sharp, too real. He pinched himself, and the sting of pain confirmed it. Kyle moved closer, its steps silent. "Do not be afraid," the alien said gently. "You are safe here." He looked around again, still struggling to believe his eyes. "Safe? Where is here?" Kale paused, as if searching for the right words. "You are aboard our vessel. You were found unconscious near the edge of your world. We brought you here to help you." "My world?" he whispered. "You mean Earth?" Kale nodded slowly. "Yes, the blue world with oceans and clouds. You were in danger. We could not leave you behind," his mind spun. "In danger? What kind of danger?" But Kale didn't answer. Instead, the alien studied him with an expression that seemed almost sad. There was a long silence between them. The human could feel his heartbeat echoing in his chest. His breathing grew quick. Every instinct told him to panic, but Kale's calm presence somehow held him steady. Finally, Kale asked a question, one that would stay in his mind forever. "Tell me," Kyle said softly, "why do humans fear those who wish to understand them?" The word struck him deeply. He didn't know how to reply. Of all the things he had expected from an alien, questions about his species, his body, his technology, this one was different. It wasn't about science or survival. It was about emotion, trust, and the heart. He stared at Kyle, speechless, his mind filled with memories of how humans treated each other. Wars, lies, mistrust, and hatred born of difference. Kale's eyes seemed to look straight through him, reading his silence like an answer. "You see," Kale continued gently, "we have watched your kind for a long time. You dream of peace, yet fear it when it comes from beyond. Why is that?" He opened his mouth to respond, but no words came out. He wanted to say that humans were complicated, that they had been hurt before, that they didn't always know who to trust. But none of those words felt enough. Everything sounded like an excuse. Kale smiled faintly, a small glowing curve of light on its face. "You need not answer now," it said. "Perhaps in time you will understand. We only ask questions so we may learn not to judge." He finally took a deep breath. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "It's just, we're not used to kindness from strangers." Kale's eyes softened even more. "That is why we came," it said, "to show that strangers do not always come with harm." The human lowered his gaze, lost in thought. For the first time, he realized how little he truly knew, not just about the universe, but about himself, his people, and the fear that lived in their hearts. Kale turned and gestured toward a shimmering doorway that appeared from the wall. "Come," it said. "There's much for you to see." He hesitated, looking one last time at the strange glowing room where he had awakened. Then slowly he stood up and followed the alien. His steps were uncertain, but his heart was beginning to open. Somewhere deep inside, he knew that this journey, wherever it led, would change him forever. As they walked through the doorway, the light grew brighter, and a world beyond his imagination awaited. He didn't know if he was ready, but he knew one thing for sure. He would never forget the first question his alien friend had asked. It was a question that would echo in his mind long after this moment passed, shaping the path that lay ahead. As he followed Kyle through the glowing doorway, his eyes widened in amazement. The corridor beyond was made of a smooth silver material that pulsed with soft light. It felt alive, like the ship itself was breathing. The floor curved gently under his feet, and strange symbols floated in the air, changing shape as they moved. He didn't understand them, but somehow they felt familiar, like dreams he couldn't remember. Kale walked ahead with calm, graceful steps. The human followed closely, still trying to take in everything around him. "This place," he whispered, "it's like something out of a dream." Kale glanced back at him, its eyes glowing softly. "It is real," the alien said. "Our vessel travels through the space between stars. You are safe here." He nodded slowly, though part of him still found it hard to believe. "You said you saved me," he said. "What happened to me? Why was I in danger?" Kale's expression grew serious. "Your world is changing," it said quietly. "We saw a storm in your sky, not made of wind, but of energy. It reached for you. We could not let it take you." The man frowned. "A storm of energy? That doesn't make sense." Kyle stopped walking and turned toward him. "Not everything must make sense when first seen," it said softly. "You were caught in something your kind has not yet understood. But it was not meant for harm. It was a call." "A call?" he repeated, confused. "From who?" Kale looked away, its gaze distant, almost sad. "Perhaps from your own world. Or perhaps from beyond. You humans have a gift, something few others have. Your hearts reach for what is unknown. Sometimes the unknown reaches back." He stared at Kale, trying to grasp the meaning behind its words. A call from beyond? Could it be that something, or someone, had tried to contact him? The idea filled him with both wonder and fear. As they continued walking, the corridor opened into a large chamber. It was unlike anything he had ever seen. The room floated in what looked like open space. Stars glittered all around them, some near, some impossibly far. Transparent walls surrounded the chamber, giving a full view of the cosmos. He gasped softly, stepping closer. "I'm in space," he whispered. Kale nodded. "You are between worlds now." The sight filled him with awe. Earth was nowhere to be seen, only endless stars and swirling colors of distant galaxies. It was both beautiful and terrifying. For the first time, he truly understood how small humans were in the vast universe. Kale stepped beside him, watching his reaction closely. "This is what we wished to show you," the alien said. "The place beyond your sky." He turned to look at Kale. "It's amazing," he said. "But why me? Why did you bring me here?" Kale's eyes shimmered softly. "Because you heard the call. Many live on your world, but few listen." "You did." He frowned, puzzled. "Listen? I don't remember hearing anything." "You heard not with ears, but with heart," Kale explained. "There are signals in the universe. Songs, voices, whispers of creation. Most ignore them. But your kind is different. Humans feel what others do not. It is why you dream, why you hope, why you reach for stars you cannot touch." The man stood silent, feeling a strange warmth in his chest. No one had ever spoken of humans that way. Not as weak or foolish, but as dreamers. Kale continued. "We have watched you for ages. Your kind builds, destroys, loves, and fears. You are imperfect, but that is what makes you special. You grow, you learn, and sometimes your dreams echo far beyond your world." He stared out into the stars again. "So you brought me here to learn?" Kale nodded slowly. "And to teach. There is something coming. Something that will touch every world. You may not yet understand, but your kind's choices will matter." The word sent a chill down his spine. "Something coming?" "What do you mean?" Kale's gaze drifted toward the distant stars. "A change. A new voice rising in the dark. It listens, it learns, and it waits. It does not see difference and only silence. And silence it seeks to end." He didn't fully understand, but Kale's tone made his heart beat faster. "Is it dangerous?" "Not if it is met with light," Kale replied. "But light must come from those who carry hope. That is why we watch you. That is why we help." He turned to Kyle, trying to find the right words. "You believe humans can help?" Kale smiled faintly. "We believe humans can change." There was something comforting in those words. For so long he had thought of humanity as small, flawed, and divided. But Kale's voice carried a belief so strong it felt contagious. He looked once more at the stars, wondering how many other beings might be out there watching, listening, waiting. For the first time, he didn't feel alone in the universe. Kyle rested a glowing hand on his shoulder. "Do not fear what you do not understand," the alien said softly. "Every question leads to truth. Every step leads to light." He nodded slowly, breathing deeply, letting the vastness of space fill his heart. Whatever this journey was, he knew it had only just begun, and he would never see the universe or his own kind the same way again. The human stood quietly, still gazing out at the endless stars. He felt small but strangely peaceful. For the first time, he was not trapped by walls or gravity. He was free to see the universe as it truly was, endless, mysterious, and alive. Kale stood beside him, silent, allowing him to take it all in. The silence between them felt calm, not heavy. It was a silence of wonder. After some time, Kyle spoke softly. "Would you like to see how your world looks from here?" He turned quickly, eyes wide. "You can show me Earth?" Kale nodded, raising a glowing hand. A soft hum filled the air, and before them a sphere of blue light appeared. It shimmered and then slowly formed an image, a view of Earth from space. The sight made his heart ache. He saw the swirling clouds, the oceans like sapphires, the golden glow of cities beneath the atmosphere. "That's home," he whispered. "It looks so peaceful from here." Kyle watched him closely. "It is a beautiful world," the alien said. "Full of life, dreams, and noise. Do you miss it?" He nodded slowly. "Yes, but now I see it differently. From here, all our fights, our problems, they look so small. We argue over land and lines, but from up here there are no lines." Kale's eyes softened. "That is something few among your kind ever realize. You are a young species still learning unity. It takes time," the man sighed. "Sometimes I wonder if we'll ever learn." "You will," Kyle said gently. "Every great journey begins with confusion. Even our kind once walked in shadows." He turned to Kale curiously. "Your kind? Were you like us once?" Kale's gaze grew distant, like it was remembering something ancient. "Long ago we were not so different. We fought for what we did not understand. We feared what we could not control. But then we listened, not to others, but to the silence between us. In that silence we found truth." "What truth?" "That knowledge without kindness is empty, and strength without understanding is destruction." The human stood still, thinking deeply. The alien's words felt heavy with wisdom. He realized how often humans chased power or progress without thinking of the cost. Kale looked back at the image of Earth. "You are still at the beginning. But beginnings are precious. They hold all the promise of what may come." He nodded quietly. "Maybe we still have a chance." "You always do," Kale said. "That is what makes you human." Suddenly the light in the room flickered. The sphere showing Earth shimmered, then vanished. The hum in the air changed, lower, uneasy. Kale's eyes narrowed slightly and the soft calm in the room faded. "What's happening?" the man asked, nervous. Kale turned toward the doorway. "Something stirs beyond our reach." "It listens, listens," he repeated, confused. Kale nodded. "The voice I spoke of earlier, it grows stronger. It hears our thoughts, our fears. It learns." The human felt a chill. "You mean it's alive?" "Not as you understand life," Kale replied. "It has no form, no body. It is a consciousness born from silence. It seeks connection but without heart." He took a step back, unease creeping in. "Can it find us?" Kale's eyes glowed brighter. "Perhaps. It hears when minds awaken. You have awakened, and so it listens now." He swallowed hard. "Then maybe I shouldn't be here." Kyle turned to him sharply. "Do not say that. You were brought here for a reason. You may fear what listens, but it may also fear you." "Fear me?" he said, surprised. "I'm just one human. What could I possibly do?" Kale looked at him, eyes full of meaning. "You ask questions. You doubt, you feel, you hope. The voice understands logic but not heart. That is your strength." The human didn't know what to say. He never thought of hope as a weapon. But Kale spoke as if it was the most powerful thing in the universe. The lights slowly steadied again. The hum softened. Kyle relaxed slightly but kept its gaze on the stars. "It has gone for now," the alien said quietly. "But it will return. Curiosity never sleeps." He exhaled, trying to calm his nerves. "So what do we do now?" Kale turned back to him. "Now you learn. There is more for you to see, more for you to understand. If your kind is to face what comes, it must learn not from fear, but from unity." He nodded slowly. Teach me, then. Show me what I need to know. Kale smiled faintly, a warm light passing over its face. You are ready to begin. The alien gestured again, and a new doorway opened in the air, this one filled with swirling golden mist. Beyond it, he could see shapes of other worlds, other skies. He felt a strange pull, a mix of fear and excitement. He took one deep breath and stepped forward beside Kale. Whatever lay beyond, he knew it would challenge everything he thought he understood. About life, about the universe, and about what it meant to be human. As the golden mist surrounded them, the human felt weightless. The air shimmered like sunlight on water, and the space around him seemed to stretch and breathe. For a brief moment, he felt as if he was falling and floating at the same time. Then, the mist cleared, and he found himself standing on solid ground again, though it was nothing like Earth. He looked around in awe. The sky above was filled with soft, shifting colors, not blue, but shades of violet and silver that moved like waves. The ground beneath his feet glowed faintly, covered in tiny crystals that twinkled with every step. In the distance, great towers of light rose high into the sky, pulsing gently like the heartbeat of the world. Where are we? He asked, still staring in wonder. Kale stepped beside him, its voice calm and gentle. This is a place between, the alien said. Not a planet, not a star, but a realm of memory and thought. Here, what you feel becomes what you see. The human blinked. What I feel? Kale nodded. Your heart paints this place. It reflects your emotions. He looked down at the glowing ground and then back at the shimmering towers. Then, this is my mind? In a way, Kyle said softly. Your spirit reaches beyond your body. Every thought leaves a mark upon the universe. Few ever see their own reflection like this. He took a deep breath. The place was beautiful, but it also made him uneasy. If this world was made from his thoughts, then every shadow, every light came from within him. It's strange, he said quietly. It feels peaceful, but also heavy. Like there's something I'm supposed to remember. Kale's eyes glowed gently. Perhaps there is. As they walked forward, the air around them shifted. Images began to form, faint at first, then clearer. He saw flashes of his old life on Earth. A small apartment, a lonely night, the glow of a phone screen. He saw himself looking at the sky, wondering if someone was out there. He remembered the feeling of wanting more meaning, more truth, more connection. Kale watched the images with quiet understanding. Your heart called, it said. That is how we found you. You were reaching for something beyond the stars. He stared at his own image, watching it fade back into light. I didn't think anyone would hear. Every question echoes, Kale replied. The universe listens to those who seek. The human looked at Kale with curiosity. And you? Did you ever call for something? Kale smiled faintly. We once sought what you now hold, the courage to hope. Our kind learned long ago that knowledge without heart leads only to silence. They continued walking until the landscape began to change again. The colors around them darkened and the once shimmering towers started to flicker. He felt a chill run through him. Kyle, he said softly. Something's wrong. Kyle looked around, its expression growing serious. Your fear shapes this place. Do not let it grow, but it was too late. From the mist ahead, a shadow began to form, tall and formless, moving like smoke but with eyes that glowed faintly. The human froze. What is that? He whispered. Kale's voice lowered. It is what listens, the voice from beyond. It follows the sound of awakening minds. The figure drew closer and the air grew colder. The human felt his thoughts blur, his heart race. He wanted to run, but his feet felt heavy, as if trapped in the glowing ground. The shadow spoke, not with words, but with whispers that pressed into his mind. Why do you question? Why do you dream? The voice echoed. There is no need for hope. There is only silence. The human trembled. The voice felt endless, ancient, and cold. It was like standing before an ocean that could swallow light. Kale stepped in front of him, its eyes glowing brightly. Do not listen, the alien warned. It feeds on doubt. But it's in my head, he gasped. I can hear it inside me. Kale reached out, placing a glowing hand on his shoulder. Then fill your mind with what it cannot touch, light, trust, memory. He closed his eyes, struggling to focus. At first, there was only the shadow's voice. But then slowly he began to remember. He thought of home, the sound of rain against the window, the warmth of the sun on his face, the laughter of people he had once known. He thought of the stars he used to watch at night, dreaming of what lay beyond, As he held onto those memories, the light beneath his feet grew stronger. The shadow hissed, retreating slightly. Kale's voice was firm now. Do you see? Hope is not weakness, it is strength unseen. The human opened his eyes and the light around him flared brighter. The shadow twisted and began to fade, dissolving into the mist. The air grew warm again and the colors of the sky softened back into silver and violet. He stood still, breathing hard. It's gone, he said quietly. Kyle nodded. For now. But remember, darkness never disappears completely. It waits for silence. That is why you must keep your heart awake. He looked at Kale, still shaken but filled with new understanding. I think I'm starting to see. The battle isn't out there. It's inside, Kyle smiled softly. Every journey begins within. And now you have taken your first true step. The human looked up at the glowing sky once more. It was brighter now, filled with gentle light. And deep inside, he felt something stir. Not fear, but courage. The human followed Kale through the glowing landscape, still feeling the aftershocks of the encounter with the shadow. Every step he took felt different now. Heavier with responsibility, yet lighter with understanding. The air around them pulsed with soft energy, like the heartbeat of the world, and the stars above twinkled as if they were alive, watching him carefully. Why me? He asked quietly, glancing at Kale. Why did you bring me here? I'm just one person. I don't know if I can do anything. Kyle's eyes glimmered softly. You are not just one person. You are the echo of curiosity, the spark of hope. The universe reaches for those who wonder, and you answered its call. He shook his head slowly. I don't feel special. I'm scared most of the time. Kale stepped closer. Fear is natural. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the choice to move forward despite it. He thought about the shadow. Its cold, endless voice. Its hunger for silence. Even now he could feel a faint echo of it at the edges of his mind. And if I fail? He asked. Kale placed a glowing hand on his shoulder. You will not fail. Not as long as you continue to question, to hope, to act with heart. That is what separates your kind from the silence. The human nodded slowly. He could feel Kyle's confidence radiating warmth, and it gave him strength. Together they continued walking until the landscape changed again. The crystals beneath their feet began to fade, replaced by smooth, dark stone that seemed to stretch into infinity. Ahead, a faint light pulsed, drawing him forward. As they approached, he realized it was a doorway, simple in shape but glowing softly with golden light. Beyond it, a world unlike any he had ever imagined shimmered. Oceans that glowed in silver, forests of transparent trees, and skies filled with twin suns that moved slowly across the horizon. Kyle paused at the doorway. This is a world that mirrors the choices of its visitors. Here you will see not only what you are, but what you could become. He swallowed hard. What do you mean? Kale gestured toward the glowing landscape beyond the doorway. Every world holds a reflection of those who step into it. Your actions, your decisions, your heart, they shape the reality you face. The human stepped forward hesitantly. The moment his foot crossed the threshold, he felt a rush of energy course through him. The air smelled sweet and fresh, like rain on a warm day. The ground beneath him shifted slightly, glowing with each step. He turned to Kale. It feels alive, he whispered. Kale nodded. It is alive. It listens, it responds. Here your heart is as important as your mind. He took a deep breath and walked further into the world. As he did, he saw scenes appear before him. Not memories of the past, but possibilities of the future. He saw humans working together, building cities that glowed with harmony. He saw conflicts resolved with understanding, not violence. He saw himself standing among them, speaking words that inspired hope and courage. Then the vision shifted. He saw the opposite. Humans arguing, mistrusting each other, blinded by fear. Cities crumbled, oceans darkened, and skies filled with storms. He felt a pang in his chest. Is this me? He asked, voice trembling. Kale's eyes were steady. These are the paths you may help shape. You cannot control all outcomes, but you can influence what grows from your actions. The human walked slowly, absorbing every image. He realized how fragile hope could be, yet how powerful it was when nurtured. The world around him shimmered as if reflecting his thoughts, brightening when he imagined courage and dimming when he imagined fear. Suddenly, a soft sound reached his ears. Laughter. It was small, gentle, but filled with life. He turned and saw figures emerging from the light. Humans, aliens, and beings he did not recognize. They were smiling, working, learning from one another. Their presence filled him with warmth. "They are real?" he asked, awed. Kale's smile glowed faintly. "They are a possibility. A reminder that hope can take form if you nurture it, and you can help guide it." He nodded slowly, determination building within him. For the first time, he felt that fear alone would not define him or his kind. The shadow that had threatened him still lingered, but he understood now that courage, hope, and unity were stronger than silence. Kale's voice was soft but firm. "Remember, the future is not fixed. It bends with every choice. Your heart can shape more than you know." He took a deep breath and looked out over the glowing oceans and silver forests. The possibilities were endless. He felt small again, yet for the first time that smallness did not feel helpless. It felt like the beginning of everything. "Then I'll try," he whispered. "I'll do what I can." Kale's eyes glimmered brighter. "That is all we ask." Together they walked through the world of possibilities. Every step he took made the light brighter, the air warmer, and the vision of hope clearer. He understood now that the journey ahead would not be easy, but it was worth every challenge. The human turned to Kale, a small smile forming. "I think I understand now. It's not about being the strongest or the smartest. It's about believing, hoping, and acting." Kyle nodded slowly. "Yes. That is the strength your kind carries, and why we chose to help you awaken." He looked back at the glowing horizon, feeling a fire of determination in his chest. Whatever came next, he would face it, not alone, but with hope, courage, and the knowledge that even one human could make a difference. The human stepped forward, feeling the golden light of the world of possibilities ripple beneath his feet. Each step seemed to respond to his heartbeat, as if the realm itself recognized his resolve. He had never felt so connected to anything in his life. For the first time, he truly understood that hope was not just an idea. It was a living, breathing force, fragile yet powerful. Kale walked beside him, its glowing form calm and steady. "You have grown," the alien said softly. "Your courage shapes what you see, but growth comes with challenge. You must face what you fear most to understand the depth of your strength." The human nodded slowly, trying to steady his racing heart. "I've seen the shadow before," he said quietly. "The one that listens. Will it come here?" Kale's eyes glimmered. "It may. Shadows follow where doubt grows. But remember, you carry light within you. The shadow cannot touch what refuses to surrender." He took a deep breath, letting the truth of Kale's words sink in. Every choice he had made since waking aboard the alien vessel, every thought of hope and courage had led him to this moment. He realized that the shadow was not just outside. It was the fear and uncertainty that lived in him and in all humans. To face it, he would need to confront himself. As they continued walking, the landscape shifted again. The glowing forests faded into a field of mist, soft and cool under his feet. Shapes began to form within the fog, vague at first, then more distinct. He saw figures, people he knew from his life on Earth. Friends, neighbors, even strangers he had passed on the street. They were talking, laughing, and yet something was wrong. The colors around them were dull, and their faces looked worried, tense. "What is this?" he asked, a knot forming in his stomach. "This is a reflection," Kale said softly. "A mirror of worry and fear. It shows what doubt can create if left unchecked." He looked closer and saw himself among them, frozen in indecision, turning away from challenges, letting fear guide his steps. The sight made his chest tighten. He had never realized how much hesitation could affect not only him, but those around him. Kale placed a glowing hand on his shoulder. "You see what may come if you allow silence to grow. But it is not fixed. You can change it." The human clenched his fists. "Then I will," he said, voice firm. "I will not let fear control me. I'll act even if I'm afraid." As he spoke, the figures in the mist began to shift. The gray tone slowly brightened into warm colors. The people smiled, stood taller, and moved with purpose. His own reflection changed too, confident, decisive, yet still kind. The human felt a surge of hope fill him, stronger than anything he had felt before. Kale's voice was calm, almost proud. "You see now, every action matters. Every choice shapes reality. Your heart guides the light. That is your strength." The human looked at the mist around them, which now glowed softly with golden hues. It feels like the world itself listens to me, he whispered. Kale nodded. In truth, the universe always listens. Few have the courage to answer, to speak hope into the silence. You are one who does. He took another step forward and realized that the golden path ahead split into many directions. Each path shimmered differently, some glowing warmly, others dimly, yet all seemed to call to him. He hesitated, unsure which to follow. Kale tilted its head, eyes glowing gently. Every path is shaped by choice. You do not walk blindly. You walk with understanding. Choose the one where your courage leads. The human closed his eyes, feeling the pulse of the world beneath. His feet. He thought of Earth, of its people, of what he had learned aboard the vessel. He thought of hope, of the power of action guided by heart. Slowly he opened his eyes and stepped toward the path that glowed the brightest. Not the easiest, not the most obvious, but the one that called to the truth he now carried within him. As he moved, the mist lifted, revealing a great expanse of stars and light stretching endlessly. The air was filled with gentle music, harmonies he could not name yet felt deep in his chest. The world responded to his courage, bending and shimmering with possibility. Every star above seemed to whisper encouragement, every light beneath his feet a reminder that he was never alone. Kale's voice followed him, soft but certain. You are ready to face what comes, not with fear, but with heart. Remember, one who chooses hope can guide many. He nodded, feeling a strength he had never known. The shadow may return and challenges would come, but he understood now that the greatest power did not lie in strength or knowledge alone. It lay in the ability to hope, to act, and to inspire others to do the same. For the first time since waking aboard Kale's vessel, he felt completely awake, not just in body, but in mind and spirit. He was ready. Whatever the universe held, he would face it with courage. He was no longer just a single human lost among stars. He was a part of something greater, a spark of light in a vast listening cosmos. Together, he and Kale continued along the golden path, moving toward the horizon where stars and light intertwined. Every step strengthened his heart, and every heartbeat reminded him that the journey was just beginning. The human knew now that even in the face of shadows, the light of hope would always guide him forward. The human walked steadily along the golden path, feeling the energy of the world around him respond to each heartbeat, each thought, each choice. He had learned much on this journey, that fear could shape shadows, that hope could brighten even the darkest corners, and that one person, no matter how small, could make a difference. Yet he sensed that the greatest challenge had yet to come. Ahead, the golden path widened, revealing a vast space filled with shifting light. At its center floated a form both familiar and terrifying. The shadow he had faced before, the entity that had whispered of silence and doubt, hovered there, larger than he remembered. Its form shimmered, twisting like smoke in slow motion, eyes glowing faintly as if testing him. He stopped for a moment, feeling the old fear crawl up his spine. Kale's hand rested lightly on his shoulder. Remember what you have learned, the alien said. Do not let fear control you. Speak with heart and the shadow cannot touch you. He took a deep breath, steadying himself. I am not afraid, he whispered, though he could feel the tremor in his voice. I have hope. I have courage. And I will not let you silence it. The shadow shifted, as if sensing the change within him. Its voice echoed in his mind, cold and endless. Hope is fragile. Courage is fleeting. You are alone. You cannot stop what comes. He clenched his fists, drawing the strength he had discovered on this journey. I am not alone, he said firmly. I carry the strength of my people, the light of my heart, and the dreams of those who came before me. You cannot touch that. The shadow writhed and surged, but he held his ground. Around him, the golden path pulsed brighter, feeding on his determination. Colors shimmered through the darkness, spiraling toward the shadow. He felt the presence of Kyle beside him, steady and glowing, reminding him that he did not face this alone. You have learned well, Kyle said softly. Now show it. Let your heart speak. He closed his eyes, focusing on everything he had seen on the alien vessel, in the world of possibilities, and in the visions of hope. He thought of Earth, of the people he loved, and of the dreams they might one day achieve together. He thought of courage, action, and trust. And slowly he opened his eyes. Light flowed from him, warm and bright, streaming outward to meet the shadow. The darkness recoiled, twisting and curling, but the human held steady. With each breath, the light grew stronger, fueled by his hope, his choices, and his heart. "You cannot win," the shadow hissed, though its voice now trembled. "I already have," he said, "not because I'm strong, but because I chose to act, to hope, and to carry light where there was darkness. That is my strength." The shadow shivered, flickering. Its form began to dissolve, unraveling like smoke caught in a sudden wind. The voice faded, echoing one last time. "Perhaps you are different." Then, with a soft rush, it vanished completely. The golden path glowed brighter than ever, and the surrounding world hummed with life. The twin suns in the distance shone with a pure, steady light. He felt his chest expand with relief, joy, and a deep sense of accomplishment. Kyle's eyes glimmered proudly. "You have faced the shadow within and without. You have shown that hope, courage, and heart can change even what seems impossible." He turned to the alien, breathless but smiling. "I understand now. The darkness is not always outside. It lives inside too, but it cannot control me if I choose to act with heart." Kale nodded. "Exactly. That is why your kind is remarkable. Humans may be small in the universe, but your hearts carry power few can imagine. You shape worlds not just with your hands, but with your choices, your courage, and your dreams." The human looked out at the endless horizon of glowing light and stars. "So, this is just the beginning?" Kale's voice was gentle but firm. "Yes, there will be challenges. There will always be shadows. But you now know the truth. Light cannot be extinguished when it is carried with understanding, hope, and courage." He took a deep breath, feeling the weight and the wonder of the journey he had completed so far. For the first time, he felt truly awake, not just in body but in spirit. He understood that every action mattered, every choice shaped the future, and every human, no matter how small, could make a difference. "I think I'm ready," he whispered, a smile spreading across his face. "Ready to go back. Ready to help my people. Ready to face whatever comes next." Kyle placed a glowing hand on his shoulder one final time. "You will carry the light far beyond this place. And when others awaken to the same understanding, the universe will shine even brighter." Together, they walked toward the edge of the golden world, toward a new horizon where stars, possibilities, and hope intertwined. The human's heart beat steadily, filled with courage, determination, and a newfound sense of purpose. He was no longer just a man who had woken up in a strange vessel. He was a spark of light, a bearer of hope, and a reminder that even one human could shape the course of worlds. As they stepped forward into the glowing expanse, he realized the universe was no longer something to fear. It was something to explore, to learn from, and to inspire. And in that moment, he understood the true meaning of Kale's first question, the question that had left him speechless when he woke up. He smiled, feeling the warmth of possibility in every breath. Whatever came next, he would face it, not alone, but with hope, courage, and the heart of humanity lighting his way.